Hello, it's Mo back in Matthew's Friends Keto Kitchen. Today I'm going to do just a quick recap on our most popular recipe, and that is for the bread rolls. And I'm doing it because we've had a few queries about colour. So I'd just like to start by explaining how the difference in colour occurs. As you know, or you may not know, the recipe does have psyllium husk in. Now that is the one that I would normally use, and it's a nice white husk. This one is psyllium husk powder. Now I thought that would be wonderful. I thought it would be a nice texture in the bread because it's much finer. As you can see, it's a real powder. But what I didn't know was that if you cook with it, everything you cook goes purple, or sometimes even a bit sludgier than purple. Now you can see here the difference in the bread. Now I'm going to show you side by side the husk and the powder. Now I suppose you could say it looks a little bit like wholemeal bread. So it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter in the eating, it doesn't matter, but it's just to allay fears, because some of the poor mums that had cooked the bread with the powder thought that they'd done something terribly wrong because it didn't look like that. But you've done nothing wrong, it's just that you've used the powder instead of the husk. But I favour the husk, or the white husk I should say. So I'm going to just give you a quick recap on how to make the rolls using that one. So here we have ground almonds. I'm using the flurry because I favour it. But you can use just ordinary ground almonds, and they go in the bowl along with the lovely pale husks. And you add to that Barcat carb-free baking powder. If you've got another brand of carb-free baking powder, that's fine, and some salt. Just give those a quick swish round just to make sure they're all combined. Now the next two ingredients are egg white. Now I found this, and it is just egg white, so it's fantastic. You're not left with yolks to deal with, and you can just use what you want. And if you're not going to be using it within 5 days, you can put it in the freezer, and they say you can freeze it for up to 2 years. But it's nice because you know that you'll have that in the freezer for making further batches. And I have frozen it and tested it, and it behaves perfectly. So there's the egg white, and I'm adding to that white wine vinegar. You can use cider vinegar if that's what you have, preferably a white, it's got to be white, not red. And once you've got those together, you put those in and start to mix them. It's such an easy recipe, this, and it's so popular, it's amazing. You don't have to make just rolls, you can make a loaf. If you make a large loaf, I would suggest you reduce the water by about 20 grams. I found a large one cooks better with a little less water, but when I first came upon this method of making bread, I learned that boiling water and a certain amount of it is imperative to the recipe. I think it develops the psyllium husk. Right, so there, you can see that's well mixed. Now I'm going to mess it up. That's boiled, here we go. And you literally, it looks a bit drastic, doesn't it? It looks quite wet to start with, but as you mix, and don't sort of force it too much, just turn it and mix it. You don't knead it like you do bread with yeast. Now can you see how that's cooling down and forming into quite a nice dough? Now you'd leave that until you could handle it, because it is quite hot now, obviously, and that's when you decide what you're going to make with it. Now if you're going to make rolls, you would weigh that, and then if you want to make 6 large rolls, you divide it into 6 equal pieces. You're going to make 8 smaller ones, same thing, equal pieces. It's quite an easy thing to do, and I can normally get it to how I want it. If I'm doing it for a patient, then of course I do weigh it out. But I'm just going to show you how easy it is to make a roll.